Hi, this is Zap, and welcome to the Reset and Zap podcast.
I just need a reset. No, it's not enough to press pause. I think I need a reset. I need a reset. Reset.
Welcome to the Reset and Zap podcast. I am your host, Zap, and with me is my co-host.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's your boy TeeJay.
And we're back at it again at our good old studio.
Did you just take my line?
Yeah.
You said we're back. That's my line.
I didn't. I switched it up. You know.
Can't use mine.
Okay. You know.
All right, anyway, go ahead.
But guys, in this episode, I'm excited to be back at our brand new studio. It's nice to be back. I miss the studio.
I know. I feel like we haven't been here in a while.
It's been a minute. But as always, as you guys always know, I like to disclose all the upcoming topics that we're going to have in this episode. And we're going to start it off with a chef kiss where we're going to talk about fun things to do as a couple. So take notes, guys, because it's going to be really, really interesting. But moving on, and then we're going to transition into our reset segment where we're going to give you some tips on how to upkeep, maintain a healthy relationship. And later on, we're going to lock it down with fast forward, which I'm not going to reveal yet because it's a surprise. It's some upcoming announcements that we got in the streaming world.
Oh, let's do it. Okay.
So why don't we start it off with Chef Kiss? As a matter of fact, I'm going to let you start it off.
I get to do it?
Yeah, you. I know. This is one of your favorite segments. Wow.
Chef's kiss.
Chefy kiss.
I think I did pretty good.
I think you did pretty good. So yeah, I found this to be really interesting, and in these upcoming episodes, we're going to discuss things from a different point of view. You know, we've talked about being a content creator, you know, having to upkeep a professional career, but we haven't really touched much the other areas that are equally important, like our everyday lives. So I figured, why not talk about fun things that we do as a couple? Because, you know, you're busy, but you also got to make some time and space for the fun.
Oh, I agree 100%. And I think what a lot of people get confused is that they feel like you have to do these big grand gestures all the time to like shows. But honestly, sometimes it's the little things. Like sometimes I'll just look at you and be like, "Hey, babe, you want to go get some breakfast?" Mm-hmm. And I'll just take it because I know she likes food. So that's the secret. She likes food. So if I just say, "Hey, let's go get some breakfast," you know, I get some brownie points right there.
That's gonna be a yes by default.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm never gonna lose with, "Hey, you want to go eat something, babe?" You know. And it's just something as simple as that. She'll get so happy and smile, and she'll just want to be picking out where to go. And sometimes it's those little things, just taking that time out to say, "Hey, I want to spend time with you specifically, doing something just for us, not for a video shoot or not for work or not for whatever. It's just I want to be with you and just you for this moment, even if it's something as simple as let's just go get breakfast together."
Yeah. I think one of the things I've done that has helped not only myself, but it has helped us in our relationship. Well, let me go back and paraphrase it. One of the things I've done over time that has not only helped me, but has helped us as a whole in a relationship is as simple as setting rewards. So like if I did something that I had to motivate myself in doing because it's maybe something I just didn't want to even do in the first place.
Yeah, it happens.
Then I set a reward. So like, for example, today is one of those days that we did something, which I'm going to disclose because why not? You know, everybody knows that gaming is our favorite hobby. So one of the rewards I set is, okay, we're going to record, but then after we're done recording, our reward is we're going to sit down and we're going to play some Stardew Valley. And it helps me, like I said, because it keeps me motivated and being like, okay, yeah, I got to do all these adult stuff. But then once we're done, then we can sit down, relax, decompress for the day, and then just have fun. So just having a nice little award system, award, rewards, however you want to call it. People have so many names for it. But the point is, just having that instant gratification of, I did it, this is what I earned in exchange.
Yeah, that also works. And I just feel like something that you say all the time, which I've really taken heed of, is that it's just making that time purposeful.
Oh, yeah.
Literally, like, instead of just doing something, you set aside that time. Like, okay, at this time, at this date, me and you are going to go do this thing. And I think, like, having that purposeful meaning, like, and sometimes what I'll do is, like, I'll, like, say we're going to a movie or we're going to some place where you got to get tickets for or something. If I want to do something with you that day, I would just go ahead and purchase the tickets.
Yeah.
For that, like, all right, I know it's going to be like a week from now, but I'm going to go ahead and purchase that ticket for this time of day now. That way we're set. Like, no matter what happens at this date and time, we have to be there because we've already paid for it now.
Yeah. It's basically a way of, like, showing commitment.
Yeah.
And staying true to your words.
Exactly. Basically, it's like, all right, I done paid $30-$40 for these tickets. We going to the show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just like we did, like, recently with a show we're going to be going to later with the Stardew Valley show.
Yes.
Like, that's something we're going to do together as
the
a
orchestra.
couple.
Yeah.
And you went ahead and just bought the tickets. It's like, hey, I bought the tickets, so we're going. It's like, oh, okay, I guess we got to go now. So.
Agreed. It's just it's one of those to-do things that you, like you said, you have to be purposeful, because one, you're committing to it, you're staying true to your words, but also you're, like, demonstrating and showing to your partner that, hey, you are important enough for me to set aside this time, to do whatever activity we have planned for the day, and no matter what, nothing nor no one is going to interrupt our plans, and I think that's another thing that's really important, that if you're going to do and this is for everybody, this is not only applicable for a relationship, this is just for, like, interpersonal relationships with everyone in general. Like, if you said, if I were to, let's say we're just friends, right, and I tell you, hey, you want to hang out, and, like, yeah, I should be considerate enough that when the time comes and I sit down and spend time with you, that I set my phone aside, do whatever I need to do to turn off as many distractions as I need to, so that way the other person can feel like, wow, this person actually wants to spend time with me, and not more so like, oh, my to-do list said I gotta go spend time with my friends, but I don't really want to. So, yay, I'm here, you see me, but I'm over here on my phone just talking to someone on social media that I could have done after the event, but I'm just doing it right now. So it's giving that impression of, I'm here, so just be happy with my presence, but I'm not really interested in what we're doing right now. So it's low-key very disrespectful. So I guess that's the next tip. Like, if you're gonna spend time with someone, turn off as many distractions as possible. That way that person knows that you actually want to be there.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And that goes along with what I said earlier about being purposeful. That's part of being purposeful. I'm purposely here to spend time with you, so I'm not going to let anything else distract me. I will literally put my phone into sleep mode, or if whatever the case may be, to, like, just silence it, or whatever the case may be, because I'm purposely here to spend time with you. So even when I choose an event of something for us to do, I consider what you would like to do. Like, oh, I know she likes this, or I know she likes this thing, or, like, sometimes it's like a simple gesture. Like, I know that my wife has a fondness for honey buns.
Yeah.
So if I'm at a store, or I'm at a convenience store or something, and I see a honey bun, I'll just grab it and just bring it home to you. Just to be like, hey, I was in the store, I saw something that you like, I thought about you, here's a honey bun. Yeah. Right? Something, like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be all these grand gestures all the time. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you can do something simple. Like, one of the things that we enjoy doing, which is something that I introduced to our relationships, which I think we both really enjoy, are house dates.
Yes.
when we
It used to be very weird at first for me.
but it's really now something that we really enjoy. Like we'll set up a time to have a date,
which we'll probably be doing more and more once Leon's here.
Oh yeah, definitely a lot more house dates. And we'll literally set aside time to we'll lock ourselves in our room. We'll get some snacks or something and some drinks, and we'll just sit in the room, either play a game together or watch a movie or some cartoons or whatever we're into that day.
Yeah.
We'll just lock ourselves in our room. We put our phones away, all other distractions, and whatever we're doing, we do it together, and we do it right there in the house, and that's our date, our in-house date. So like you don't necessarily have to, spend a lot of money or go out all the time, but there are other things that you can do. Like getting creative, I think, even shows your partner how much you care as well, because you're willing to take the time to do more unique things, not doing the typical dinner and a movie all the time.
Yeah.
Which is fun and cool, but if that's the only thing you can ever come up with, that kind of gets boring after a while. Mm-hmm. We'll do other things like, we'll go to a museum, or we'll go check out a restaurant we've never been to before, or we'll go to a place we've never been to before, or we'll just do something that's outside of the norm.
It involves a lot of experimentation most of the time.
Oh yeah, and I think that part of it is just the experimenting part itself can be fun. Just hey, this thing that neither one of us has ever done before. Let's go just try it and see if we like it. We may hate it, but we have an experience and we get to do it together. So it's still fun at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But, we might find out that we both find something that we really love. It's like, oh, that's really cool. We really enjoyed that. We should try that again. Like, I think one of the things we did, you actually did this for Father's Day, is we went to an escape room.
Yeah.
Which I've never done before. And I don't think you had done that before.
No, it was my first time.
And we both really enjoyed it. And I think that's something we would probably do again, because we really enjoyed it. And we tried it, and we did it as a family even. So we even brought our son along. And we had a great time. And that was a good couple/family moment. So like those kind of things, I think, really will show how much you really care for somebody when you're willing to do things that are outside of your norm, or willing to try other things. Another example of that is even like culturally. We'll try like one of the big things that you've introduced me to a lot of foods that I've never experienced before. And just being open-minded and saying, hey, even though this is weird for me and I don't know what this stuff is, I'll try it because I know it means something to you.
Got a lot of stories.
And the funny thing is, I found out that I actually love Puerto Rican cuisine. Like that is, woo! I am actually quite a fan. And that's something I never would have known had I been closed-minded, like, oh, that's weird. I don't eat that kind of stuff. I only eat American food, or whatever the case may be. Like, just being open-minded to your partner is another way of showing them you care. So now you're like, oh, he really appreciates my culture and where I come from. And he really gave it a chance and actually tried. And same thing with mine. You'll try things or try to understand things that are for me culturally. And we'll do those different kind of things. And just having that appreciation for each other, I think, is a big step.
Yeah, which I love where we're at right now. So I think it's a perfect moment to transition to reset. Since in reset, we're going to continue talking about how to maintain a healthy relationship. So can we reset right now?
Okay, hit that button.
Oh, there we go. We reset it. So yeah, guys, take notes, because we're going to offer you our own life experiences, but some tips. You can take what works for you and apply it in your own way to your own relationship, because at the end of the day, every relationship is going to be different. So do apply it in your own way. Don't try to copy and paste it, because just because it works for us doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for someone else.
True. And honestly, I think that's actually one of the first things that I would say is that, first of all, you can't just do what everybody else does, because that not necessarily work for you in your relationship. And to be even more specific in that, I mean, understanding your partner, I think, is a first part of maintaining a healthy relationship. It's actually knowing the person that you're with.
Yeah.
As simple as it may sound, I think in a lot of situations, people don't really know their partner. Because I've been in other relationships before you where I really didn't know the person I was with. I really didn't take the time to understand them and what they like and whether how they think and how they process things, because something you may like or enjoy or understand may be something completely different for somebody else. And I think in our situation, that comes out even more because we come from two different cultural backgrounds.
Yeah.
You know, you being Hispanic Puerto Rican and me being, you know, African Nigerian.
Yeah.
So it's like there's things that I enjoy or things that you enjoy or things that I do culturally that you don't do culturally or things that you do culturally that I don't do. And if we take the time to understand how each person is feeling, you can always find that middle ground. You can always find that place where there's understanding. And that right there, I think, is a big part of maintaining a relationship, is simply understanding your partner.
Yeah, and key factor here, time. Like you said, you know, like our good old parents have always told us back in the day of take your time, don't rush, you know, in a relationship. And I think it's one of the many of the pieces of advice that we 100% of the time ignore.
Yeah.
Because I've been guilty of it. I've rushed into, you know, being with a person and being in a relationship and then committing seriously, and then later on finding out like I don't know who this person truly is, you know, and then. And then you don't want to fall into the trap, which many of us do, unfortunately, that once you're tied and entangled with this person and you get to actually sit down and discover who this person is, you find out that, you know, it's not the right person, or it's a completely different image from what you had at the beginning.
Yeah, it's 100% true, and that's why I would say that, you know, the best relationships are usually based on friendship first, which is where I think our relationship kind of started differently, because when we first met each other, we literally were just friends. That's all it was. We were just two people on the internet who were doing content creation, and you would help me with my stuff, and we would, you know, just chop it up about day-to-day stuff and just really just being friends and really getting to know each other and understand each other's likes and wants and desires. And I think that's what grew our relationship into what it is now, where we're at a point now where we're totally in sync, because we both know that, okay, I know that this is what he likes. I know this is what she desires. And I know that we both believe this in the same kind of way, because even though people say, like, you know, what's that phrase people always say, opposites attract or something like that. I don't necessarily agree with that. Even though we are different in a lot of ways, we are more the same than we are different.
Yeah.
Like overall, like our parenting style is pretty similar. Our taste in fashion and clothes is pretty similar. Like, we both have a similar style and taste, and our even like the games that we like to play. Even though you play some games that I don't play, and I play some games you don't play. Yeah. A lot of the times, a lot of the games we play, we both end up enjoying. Yeah. So it's like, you know, even though there are differences, I would say that me and you are more alike than we are different. Yeah. It's just that the differences stand out more, because those are the first things that people notice is what's different rather than what's the same. Yeah. So like, I would say that me and you are probably more similar than we are different, even though we have two totally different cultural backgrounds. So like, once again, understanding your partner and knowing who that person is, if that doesn't line up with you and where you want to go in life, then maybe that's not the right person for you. Yeah. And that's a mistake that I could say that I've made a lot of the times, because I had this thing where I would change who I am to try to match the person that I'm with. Ooh. And that's something that I've done a lot. And that's a mistake that I've made most of my life. I've never truly been able to be myself in a relationship until I met you. Yeah. And that's when I really understood, like, wow, this is what being in a relationship should feel like. I can just be me. I don't feel like I have to dumb myself down or change who I am or dress a certain way or act a certain way. I can just be me, and this person is going to love me regardless, because the reason why they love me is because I am who I am. Yeah. Which leads me to my next point, which I know you're going to want to expand on, is honesty. Oh, yeah. Just being upfront and honest about who you are will negate a lot of these problems up front. Oh, yeah. I think the biggest problem that people face in relationships is that everybody just wants to be with somebody so bad that they meet somebody and they instantly put up this image or this front or even just straight up lie about who they are in order to make that person like them. Oof. But what you should be doing is just being honest about who you are, be putting your best front forward and saying, if this doesn't work for you, then maybe we're not the right ones for one another. And I need to find somebody who will accept me for who I am. That way, down the line, when you're looking at each other, 5-10 years down the road, you can be like, oh yeah, you're still the same person you was when I met you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. I would say that's in par or on par with, my favorite word that I love to use is accountability. One of the main key factors that you need in order to maintain a relationship, whether it's interpersonal or, a love relationship, marriage, is being accountable to your partner. And with that entails, being honest, just being an open book. I love the fact that you brought it up because, the more open you are with the person, then the less secretive you have to be with that person too. Because like you said, if you build up an image just trying to impress, we all bring our A game, like people say at the beginning, just to impress someone. But down the road, that kind of gets old.
Yeah.
And once you start living with a person and you start seeing their habits, you start seeing their weaknesses, their strengths, their attitude, there's nowhere else to hide. So you can only keep that image for so long until people start seeing through it. So honesty comes down a long way, just being open about everything, even about the ugly stuff. I say, if anything, to know that you're with the right person is to be able to say everything. Once you can say everything to a person, you don't have any secrets. You don't have to hide anything. You can be a complete open book, and yet this person accepts you for who you are. Then you're with the right person, because in a relationship, there shouldn't be such a thing as I am one thing in front of you, but then behind closed doors, I'm going to do all these secretive stuff because I'm afraid of revealing these things to you. Because then, what gives? How does that help reinforce a solid and strong foundation within the relationship and within the marriage if you're still not giving yourself wholeheartedly, which leads to commitment.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Commitment. Like I learned this from my grandpa, rest in peace. He taught me something that was real simple, and he, lasted a long time with my grandma until they both parted away. But he was like, every day I think about my commitment that I've done to this woman. So I wake up every day. I don't care how I feel. There might be days that I feel a certain way, but I wake up every day reminding myself about the vows I did to this woman, about the commitment I did for her and to my family and what we've built together. So I make the decision every day, he said, when I wake up in the morning, of recommitting every day to her. And he said, and that's why my marriage has lasted so long, because I like I always say, intentionally, he set it a goal that every day he was going to recommit to his vows and recommit to his marriage. So the real question is, how committed are you to your relationship?
Oh, big facts. And actually, going back to what you were saying previously about like being open and honest with your partner, another thing that I think affects that as well is not only in between other people, but when you're honest with your partner and you put all your cards on the table, it also leaves less room for outside influences.
Oh, yeah.
So now somebody can't come to you and be like, hey, did you know that TJ used to do such an A, B, and C, and D? And you can look back at them and be like, yeah, I know, he told me. Mm-hmm. And somebody could come to me and be like, oh, did you know before you, Zap, did A, B, C, and D? I could say, yeah, I know. I already knew that. She told me that when we first got together. I knew about that before we even was in a relationship. I knew that.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are you talking about? And when you get rid of those outside, because a lot of the times I feel like in a lot of relationships, it's the outside influences that destroy it.
The naysayers.
Yeah, it's the people on the outside that have an opinion about what they see, but not really knowing the true nature of what's going on.
Exactly.
They just see the outside picture and they're like, oh, this isn't good for you because of X, Y, and Z, or whatever the case may be. And those outside influences a lot of time is what can ruin a lot of relationships.
Yeah.
And eliminating those is the best way possible, you know, to just take out those outside influences, you know. And like I said, the honesty is a big part of that, because when you're honest with your partner, there's nothing to hide, which means what I've always said is, nobody should be able to tell my partner something about me that she doesn't already know from me.
Exactly.
And I think that's a very important part of relationships. Your partner should never have to hear from somebody else something that they should have heard from you.
Yeah.
So if you can eliminate that, you can get rid of half the problems in your relationship right there, because no one on the outside should be able to affect what happens on the outside.
Yeah, exactly.
So for me, I've always said this: what happens in this household stays in this household.
Yeah.
Anything
100%.
that, you know, any issues or any problems or any situations or whatever the case may be should be settled within your household and not in outside. And that even goes not necessarily in a marriage, but in a relationship.
Yes.
Nothing should be outside of your relationship or even a friendship.
Yeah.
Something discussed in your friendship shouldn't be discussed outside of
and let me make that very clear before you continue, because we do got to make this very clear for the listeners. We're talking about in a normal setting. The only exceptions that you should take your business outside is that if it involves, obviously, you know, some sort of abuse, you know, which we're not going to discuss, you know, here. But, you know, if there's things that are putting you in danger, then those are the only exceptions that I will say. You take your business outside of your home.
At that point, that's no longer a relationship.
At that point.
The moment somebody let me be very clear on this.
Yeah.
The moment somebody puts their hands on you, you're no longer in a relationship with that person. That's my opinion. If you have to go to physical lengths to do whatever it is you're trying to do, then you no longer have a relationship.
Yeah.
So I don't even count that as being in a relationship. I count that as something we're talking about relationships versus something that is criminal.
Yeah, so
because
please,
it is against the law to put your hands on somebody else.
Please do consider that. So, you know, if you're going, and this includes any sort of abuse, you know, emotional, financial, any sort of manipulation, any sort of control, physical abuse, where you, and if you have children, are also in danger, please take the proper actions and go to the proper authorities. That's not for me to step in, because I'm not a professional, but all I'm saying is, under those circumstances, do take the action. But in a normal setting,
that we're talking about in an actual relationship. Because like I said, those situations, I don't even consider those relationships. I consider those criminal investigations. Okay. At that point, somebody's breaking the law and somebody needs to be going to jail for that. That's something totally different. But we're talking about personal aspects, like if let's say me and you are having an argument or something, but we're disagreeing about something. I shouldn't be going to somebody else and saying, well, me and Zap had this discussion and this is how I feel and she said this and this and that. You shouldn't be doing that. That's what I'm saying. Especially if it's somebody of the opposite sex or the same sex, depending on what your orientation is. You shouldn't be going to somebody who could be a potential partner or somebody who would want to disrupt your relationship in order to get what they want out of it. Because you also have to understand that people will do these things. So like, the point I was making in saying these things is basically like, there should be a level of mutual respect between the two participants of any relationship. There should be that mutual level of respect where it's like, I will never, something that you told me in confidence, I will never tell to anybody else. Stuff that you say, hey, this is something that stays between us, I will never discuss with anybody else without your permission. That's what I mean by that mutual level of respect. It's basically saying that this is about to get good. This is about to get good. This is deep. This is about to get good.
Take notes, y'all.
Because what that leads into is setting boundaries. Because in every relationship, I believe that one of the first things you need to discuss are your boundaries. Which is
the thing that is less discussed sometimes.
It's usually never discussed, honestly. I can't even think of any prior relationship where I've ever actually had that discussion with somebody. Me and you are the first time I think I've ever had that kind of discussion of, hey, this is what I accept, this is what I don't accept. This is what I go for, this is what I don't go for. This is what is acceptable to me, this is what's not acceptable to me. I don't think I've ever had that conversation in a relationship before. And I think it's one of the first ones you should have, because that right there will let you know if that's the person for you or not. I could be like, hey, this is what I go for, this is how I roll, this is what I do. if this does not work for you, then I'm probably not the person for you.
Which ties nicely with accountability, because even before you can be accountable to this person, you have to know what are their boundaries.
Yeah, big facts. And I think that is something that, like you said, is not often discussed, but should be discussed a lot. You have to set those boundaries of this is what I like to have. This is just getting straight down to it. This is what's acceptable with other people. This is what's not acceptable with other people. These things are okay to discuss outside of the home. These things are not okay to discuss outside of the home.
What sort of habits you want to permit within your marriage, lifestyles, point of view, in all areas.
Yeah, because I mean, some people are down for open relationships. Some people are not.
Yep.
Some people don't mind having, friends of the opposite gender or the same gender, depending on your sexual orientation. Some people are not okay with that.
Yeah.
So it's like that is this discussion that needs to happen, honestly, day one. So that right there, you both put your cards on the table and say, this is what I accept and this is what I don't accept. And if that doesn't work for you, then at that point, y'all can simply say, hey, it was nice meeting you, but let's go our separate ways.
Yeah, because one of the many mistakes is when boundaries are and limitations are not put in place or not discussed openly with your partner, then your partner is just going to go and do things. And then technically they're going to get upset because they're going to be like, well, I didn't think I was doing something wrong or blah, blah, blah. And then if you try to discuss it later on with your partner when it's kind of late because you're already entangled, like I said, with this person, then that's where the majority of the problems come in, because now this other person is probably wanting you to accept their behavior. And then you didn't really let them know at first that I'm not okay with this.
Yeah, and I think.
No. So I agree that, boundaries have to be put in place. I will even add more to this because, we're talking about a relationship side, but something as simple as, like, for example, for us, if you're bringing children, into the relationship, something as simple as also placing boundaries when it comes to, how much you're going to permit for your partner. Like what role does your partner play in when it comes to raising those children, the consequences, parenting styles, like everything that entails, raising those other individuals in the home. Even what are your boundaries, if any, when it comes to those areas? So we're really talking about literally everything: financial, emotional, sexual, parenting, everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Everything matters. And because everybody always says, oh, this shouldn't matter as much as this thing. That's the one thing I say that mistake everybody makes, is that they try to put limitations or what should be important and what shouldn't be important and blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, everything is important.
Yeah, because then you're not going to hear this constant, usual comment you hear about people like, oh, they should just accept me for who I am and just love me who I am, and I'm not going to be with somebody that's going to try to control me and blah, blah. But it's not really the person trying to control you. It's just, if you already know their boundaries, you know your boundaries, and you guys discussed it, then nobody's really controlling nobody. You stepped into the relationship knowing what was permitted, what was not permitted, and you therefore accepted that was okay, but you have to have that discussion, obviously.
Yeah, because it's hard to respect boundaries if you don't know what they are.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be mad at somebody for breaking one of your boundaries if you never told them what it was. You can't expect the person just to understand or even feel the same way that you feel. Because even though something may be upsetting to you and make you feel some kind of way, it may not make the other person feel any kind of way, and that's just the way they've always acted, and it's never been an issue. Like, not everybody thinks the same or feels the same way about everything.
Yeah.
There are some people who, even though it's weird to me, like, there are other people who feel like flirting is not a problem. Like, there are some, I know some guys and women who, like, will flirt with other people even though they're in relationships, and their partner is totally okay with it. Like, it's just like, even though for me that's not acceptable. Like, I don't you're not doing. You wouldn't want me to. Basically, oh God, this is it's getting good.
Yeah.
Because the way that I am, and we've actually talked about this several times before.
Yeah.
If there's something that you wouldn't want me to do, then you can't do it.
Yeah, it's our what I call our golden rule.
Yeah. Facts.
Yeah.
The golden rule. And I think that's what solves a lot of our issues. Because if before I make a decision, I'll say, hey, if she did this same thing, how would it make me feel? And if I would like it, then I won't do it. Mm-hmm. Same thing with you. Like if there's something that you know that you wouldn't want me to do, then you don't do it.
Yeah.
So like that's how, we've kind of maintained our relationship, is that's kind of like the ultimate way to find out where the balance is.
Yeah.
It's like, if I don't like it, then I can't do it.
Exactly.
If you don't like it, you can't do it.
Yeah.
So it's like basically just being
And
fair.
we sometimes even joke about it. I'm like, well, you know what I mean? If it's fair for you, then it's
Hey,
fair.
I mean, you can do it if you want to, but that means I get to do it. And
Yeah.
like,
It's our own.
you know what? Never mind.
Yeah. But also, and not going too much into detail, because we don't have to go too much into detail about that, because like I said, every relationship is different. So boundaries and limitations are also going to be different. So do what works for you. But, within the stuff that we've discussed in our own private chambers, we know that, yeah.
Got fancy a little bit. I didn't know we had chambers. What a chamber.
But yeah, like the stuff that we've discussed, privately, once we're in public, then we pretty much know the set of expectations that our partner has, and how we're supposed to behave, and how do we everything, how the way we move, basically. Like the way I've always have envisioned my marriage and my relationship is that, when I walk out of the house, I'm not only representing myself, I'm representing our household, I'm representing my husband, I'm representing my children. And I've taught this also to them. So I always teach them, like, no matter where you go, your interactions with no matter who, keep in mind that you're representing at all moment that household. You're representing our last name, you're representing our family. So the way you portray yourself is so important, because then that gives people a glimpse of our foundation. And if they see that the foundation is weak, then like you said, that would lead to intruders, to people thinking they have the opportunity to step in and destroy a household, basically, which unfortunately you see a lot nowadays. The exposure to social media has gotten to the point that people have forgotten what boundaries are, and things that are not acceptable, people think it's acceptable nowadays, Which leads to a next thing.
I'm about to say, we might want to just move on, boy, because we might have to have another episode, because I want to talk to my brother so bad right now.
Well, I'll let you do that in a minute, but before you do it, the other thing I was going to say that's going to follow up, which might be the most meaty part of this discussion, is communication.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to dive into that, but yeah.
All right, go ahead, because what I want to talk about is, I think that might be a different episode, but
no, if you can condense it in a.
No, I can't. That's the thing. I can't. That's something we're going to have to do on another episode, because I really want to have an episode where I can just talk to men about being men. And that's a whole nother.
You're gonna leave people on a cliffhanger? Is this the first time we leave people?
I just feel like in this day and age that we, as just talking, and I can only speak from a man's perspective because I'm only a man.
Yeah.
But I feel like men have failed in a lot of regards in being men. And, that can get into a whole different category of different discussions. But at the end of the day, I feel like there's a lot of things that we as men could change to be a lot more effective in relationships, and the kind of relationships that we go for, and what we want and what we desire. So it's going to go too deep. You got to give me another episode.
Yeah.
Okay? You got to give me another episode.
Yeah, so let's move on to communication. And I know that a lot of you have heard this. So communication. And sometimes people don't even want to listen to it, because they think it's just going to be the same vague, piece of advice that everybody else gives. But communication in a relationship is utterly important, because you need to change your mindset. That's where it really starts. You need to change your mindset and and stop thinking in a selfish way. You know, when you're dating and you're not prepared to be in a relationship, usually the conversation's always geared towards, I need this, I want this, I need this in a partner to make me happy, or they need to check off all these boxes in order to be the right person for me. So it's always about me, I. And once they're in a relationship with that person and there's not really a solid, you know, balance of communication between you and your partner, if that person fails in one of your own selfish needs, then you're like, this relationship doesn't work. I'm just gonna jump into the next brand new thing because this person didn't meet my needs, my wants. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with having expectations, but when you step into a relationship, it's no longer about you. It's about us. It's about we. So changing your mindset of, I'm not only going in it for what I can get out of the relationship, but what am I going to put into the relationship? Like, do I know this person well enough so I can sit down and have a one-on-one conversation of, okay, this is cool. This is all the stuff you bring to the table. Ladies, I'm going to jump about that. I'm going to jump into
like
it.
You read my mind. You read my mind.
But it also includes, what do you bring to the table? So this was one of the early conversations that, let me take a minute because now I got to talk to my ladies.
You already,
you know.
You going where exactly where I was about to go, so go.
So one of the many mistakes that us as female and women do nowadays, and this might exclude some of us, the real ones, but you know, we're going to talk about it in a general term, you know, that we've been taught to be trained in thinking in a way where we want a man that is stable, that has, you know, a good financial freedom, that's going to bring that stability, that's going to bring that foundation, that house leadership that you want in a family. If you're looking to be married, if you're looking to be single, then that's a whole different story. But we're talking about people that want to get married, right? So usually those are your expectations. You know, you'll start with the typical stereotypes. Some people, you know, depending their preference, they want them, you know, with muscles, fit, I don't know, whatever your preference are, certain race, whatever it is. But then it follows up with those things. But what we don't ask ourselves is, what do we have to bring to the table? Because you'll go on a date with this man, and then let's say they check off all your boxes. What if we reverse the roles and this man asks us at this very same table on this date, well, what do you have to bring to the table? What's going to be your answer? Because if it's just going to be, well, I'm pretty, my looks, you know, I'm good in bed, whatever it is, you know, we got good chemistry, I guess, you know, then that's not going to be enough. I hate to say it, but it's not going to be enough. You know, beauty fades. You're going to get fat. Your body's going to go through changes. You're going to have children. You're going to have stretch marks, okay? You're not going to have that Barbie. You know that Instagram model you keep following and you admire? You're not going to have it. Ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to have it unless you work for it. Or you go under surgery, but that's a different That's a different story. So you're going to have to come with a plan. And that means building upon yourself. Have you made yourself whole enough to know who you are, who your identity is? Have you built yourself to be confident enough to not have to validate yourself through your partner, but through yourself? You know, so like for me, when I had this talk with TJ, I immediately knew what to respond. Like, I don't even think you brought it up. I was the one who brought it up, you know? And I brought up so many things to him. I was like, you know, I'm a woman of one man. I know how to stay faithful. I know how to multitask. I know how to budget. I understand finances. I can show you the right route we need to take financially, where we need to go, you know. And I kept giving him this whole list. I've built a career for myself. I've been independent, so I know how to keep a job. I know how to maintain an image in public. So I kept giving him a whole list that had nothing to do with beauty, nothing to do with just in bed, that he can also see, am I, like people like to say, am I wife material? In other words, you know? So you have to ask yourself this question. And if you can't really reply to this, God, I hate to break it to y'all, but maybe you shouldn't be dating. Maybe you shouldn't be dating. You should probably be working on yourself first before you bring your luggage and then you expect somebody else to carry it. And I'm trying to be nice.
And since you went there, I guess I get to go there now. And men, if you would like something like that, then you have to put yourself in a position to deserve something like that. Mm-hmm. You have a right to get what you want out of a relationship. You have the right to be with the kind of woman that you want, to look the way you want her to look, to act the way you want her to act. You do have a right to those things, but there are things that are also expected of you. If you want a woman that is going to be a follower, then you need to be a leader. You need to be able to make decisions and not have to lean on her to do everything. You should be able to be like, okay, babe, this is the plan. This is where we're going. This is what we're doing. This is the breakdown. Like we do this all the time.
Yeah.
Like whenever we make any major decisions or major changes to our lifestyle or finances or whatever the case may be, I will sit down with you and be like, hey, babe, this is what I'm thinking. This is what I think we should do. This is why I think it will work. Here are the numbers that prove it. Here's the evidence. Here's the plan. Here's the day-to-day. This is how it's going to work. And then she looks at it and be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense, baby. Go ahead and do your thing. You know, like if you're going to be, if you want that kind of woman, then you need to be able to be a leader. You need to be able to be a husband, be a father, be a financial advisor, be there to comfort, be there to protect. You have to have all of these abilities. You can't just expect to get a woman that's going to follow you and do as you ask and whatever the case, whatever you want, whatever kind of woman you want, you have to be able to provide that woman what she needs to be what you want her to be. Mm-hmm. So if you want her to be a certain way, then you yourself have to be a certain way. I was able to get me a beautiful, smart, intelligent woman because I am a handsome, smart, intelligent man.
Preach.
You know, like I had, you know, it just is what it is. Like you gotta talk in facts and reality. And the fact is that I wanted me a woman of higher class, higher quality, who isn't running around in the streets, who will respect me as a man and then allow me to be a leader and will allow me to protect her and protect her children. And in order to do that, I had to show her that I had the ability to do that and I could do so successfully. And AKA, something that you've always said about me is that I'm a man of my word.
Yeah.
And if I say I'm going to do something, then that's what I'm going to do. If I say, hey, babe, this is the plan, I stick to the plan. Mm-hmm. Hey, babe, this is what we're going to spend the money on, then that's what I spend the money on. Yeah. Hey, babe, we're not going to spend money on this thing, then we don't spend the money on. Whatever I say, I also back up with my actions.
Yeah.
And that is a very important as a man to be able to stand on your word. Because as men, that's all we really have is our word. And if your word means nothing, then nobody's going to follow you.
Yeah, and you're going to lose total respect if you don't have a vision and plan in place.
Facts.
So therefore, you know, communication, once again, accountability, honesty, communication is key if you want to succeed and not only be in a relationship, but keep your relationship. You know, as many people, I've heard a lot of people say, like, getting married is the easy part. Staying married is the difficult part.
100%.
And it's true, because every day you gotta work into keeping your marriage. You know, it's not, honestly, when I go back and think about what my grandparents did, it's not really that hard.
It's not.
It's just, how committed are you?
I think a big problem is a lot of people get lazy after a while. And what I always remind people is that whatever you did to get that person is what you do to keep that person.
Oh, yeah.
So if you start off bringing flowers every day and showing then that's what that person is going to expect that relationship to be. So if that's not the kind of person you are, then don't present yourself that way. Present yourself in a way that is the real essence of who you are. If you're not the touchy-feely romantic type, then don't try to present yourself that way, because that is going to be that person's expectation. If you're not, some people are not born to be leaders. Some people are not good at that. If that's not who you are, then don't try to present yourself that way, because that's going to be that person's expectations.
Yeah.
If you present yourself as a leader and then that other person looks to you to be a leader and then you can't do it, that's going to be a problem. So you need to present your truest form, your truest self. That way the person knows exactly what they're getting into and what they can expect from you. And when you do that, you can eliminate a lot of those early problems. Because like people say, it's after that honeymoon period, that's when things get real.
Yes.
You know? So it's like, but let's just get rid of the honeymoon period. Let's just deal with all the uncomfortable conversations. Let's have all of those in the beginning. All the uncomfortable conversations, the uncomfortable realities, the truths, the things that person that you may, if there's something about, if you, all right, for example, if you know that you can't be with somebody that's a smoker, then that should be one of the first questions you ask.
Yeah, which technically I was one of the...
Yeah. That's why I thought of it. It's like, are you a smoker? No. All right, cool. If you are, and you know for a fact that you cannot be with somebody that's a smoker, the moment somebody tells you they're a smoker,
you're out.
Hey, it was nice to meet you, but that's not what I'm looking for. Yeah. Peace out. You can save a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of heartache instead of trying to settle for something that you wouldn't normally, accepting something that you wouldn't normally accept. Yeah. If you know that there's some people like it, some people don't. It's not that you're a bad person or this person is better than you or whatever the case may be. It's just that certain people accept certain things and certain people don't.
Oh, yeah.
And
everybody has the right to.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Preference. It's not.
Yeah.
You know, whatever, I don't know what the word is people use for it now. I keep forgetting, but it's just preference. Everybody has a preference. Some people like tall people, some people like short people, some people like fat people, some people like skinny people. Everybody has a preference, and it's okay. There is nothing wrong with having a preference. Do not change what you want just to be with somebody, because that person is probably not the person you want to be with. If you have to change who you are just to get that person. Because then the person that, like I said, the person who you are when you meet that person is the person that person is going to expect you to be.
Yeah.
So if you present yourself in a false narrative, then you have to continue being fake for the rest of the relationship in order to maintain it. And that's impossible. And that's when relationships crack, is when people start realizing, I can't keep up this act forever, and I don't want to keep up this act forever. And then you start becoming who you really are, and the other person looks at you like, wow, you're different now.
Yeah,
like, this isn't how you was acting in the beginning. This isn't what's going on. And the reality is you're just being yourself, so you're getting resentful. It's like, oh, you don't really love me for who I am. But in the reality, you didn't tell that person who you was. So it's like both ends get that backlash, and then that's when a lot of relationships fail.
And relationships are not for everyone. Some people are just meant to stay single, and singlehood is also a beautiful thing if done correctly. You know, so if you at the end of listening to this podcast, you'd be like, you know what, this, being in a relationship with somebody is definitely not for me. That's great, because you're realizing your own boundaries. That might be your boundary, that you can't be in a relationship with someone.
Some people can.
Yeah. So
some people can't do it. It's not for everybody.
It's not for everyone. So if you just want to be single, enjoy being single. But the problems come in when somebody who's single wants the relationship benefits, but then doesn't want everything that comes with being in a relationship.
You gotta pick.
So there's no.
You gotta choose a side. There's not. I'm just gonna lay it out flat. You have to choose a side. If you want somebody to be with every single day, then you gotta be willing to do what comes with that. If you want to, do what you want to do and live your life the way you want to live it, then just be single. Like you cannot have it both ways. You have to choose a side and stick to it. Bottom line.
Yeah. So I think before you even jump into a relationship, have that honest, true talk with yourself and consider the matters, consider the negatives, consider the positives, and then come to the decision of, do I want to stay single? I'm good. Great. Do I want a relationship? Perfect. What are the steps I need to take to become the person that I need to be before I even step into a relationship with someone?
Exactly. And bow on it.
Yeah.
Nice
Little cherry on top.
I'm gonna put a little cherry on top of that thing. A lot of this will all turn back into this one thing, and that's just knowing who you are as a person.
Facts.
If you know who you are as a person, you know what you accept and what you don't accept. If you know who you are as a person, then you know if you're good for a relationship or not.
Ooh.
If you know who you are as a person, you'll know what kind of person you want to be with. If you know who you are as a person, you can knock out a lot of these issues in the beginning, because understanding yourself will let you be able to explain who you are to your partner. Your partner will be able to understand who you are, and they'll be able to love you the way that you need to be loved. And so knowing you, before you even think about getting a relationship, you need to sit down with yourself and say, who am I? What do I like? What do I really want to be? Because I know, and I'm just talking from experience. I'm not even trying to call nobody out or do anything. I'm talking about me.
Yeah.
For a long time, I spent so much of my life pretending to be something else for everybody. Every relationship I've been in, I pretended to be what I thought that person wanted. To try to be the perfect man for this person. So I'm going to be everything that person wants. And I've done that for so long that I actually forgot who I actually was. So I had to sit down with myself and say, what do I like? What do I want? What do I need? What kind of person do I want to be with? What kind of person do I want to be? And once I had that conversation with myself, I was able to decide, like, okay, I know exactly who I am. I know exactly where I want to go. And I know exactly who I want to be with.
Yeah.
So that is step number one, to tie it up with a nice little bow, is first get to know yourself as a person, as for you, for nobody else but yourself.
Yeah.
And then once you have that, and you know and you are confident in who you are, finding a relationship becomes 10 times easier.
Yeah. And let's say you're already in a relationship with someone, but you guys still haven't figured this out, but you guys are under good terms. Come together and, talk it out. Work out a plan where you guys can figure these things out in the relationship. And who knows, it might strengthen y'all's love for each other and grow into a nice, beautiful, solid relationship.
Or it may turn out that you both realize that you're not right for each other.
And then you should jump the boat.
It is what it is. Like, the reality, some people don't want to face the harsh reality sometimes, that sometimes the person that you're with isn't the right one. I know I've made that mistake.
You could be holding that person back from their true one.
Yeah. Or you could be holding yourself back from your true one.
Yeah. Woo.
You're basically, you're being selfish on both ends, basically.
Is this kind of like a premarital class?
You're being selfish on both ends. You're being selfish for that other person, and you're being selfish for yourself.
Yeah.
So you're messing it up on both ends.
Because some people are just afraid of being lonely. And that's a whole different issue. That's why you need to get to know yourself first.
I feel a part 2 coming on for this one.
Woo!
I feel a part 2 coming on for this one.
This is, guys, if you've been enjoying this discussion, let us know in the comments section. Let us know if you actually want a part 2, or if you enjoy discussions about this. Because like I said, the Reset and Zap podcast is not only about talking about gaming, it's talking about everything in life. Life, work, relationships. It's a reset, guys. You're resetting for the next week. So,
but just to tie it in with gaming, that's one of the things you can talk about too, is what kind of games you like to play. Because if you would have told me you like Elden Ring, this relationship would have been over.
Oh God!
If you told I love Elden Ring, I'd be like, well, baby, I don't think this relationship gonna work out. Can't do it. I can't be with somebody that plays Elden Ring.
Play Elden Ring. Blocked. We're done. Oh God, Jesus! You're gonna stir up a turmoil now.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Let's do it.
Let's fast forward.
There you go.
Alrighty, guys. So in fast forward, we finally get to reveal the upcoming and exciting news.
Oh yeah.
For the ZapCristal streaming world.
Let's talk about it.
So if you've been following my video game diary series, I've been talking a lot about games I've been playing in my collection and sharing my honest opinion, if it's a yay or nay, and how I feel about it as a gamer. And within that series, we've also started a little, how to call this, like a mini series, I guess you would call it, a mini series of games that we recommend as a couple to play in multiplayer or co-op mode. And I'm excited to announce that if you've watched one of our latest videos, you should know by now that we are bringing back the live streams, but in a very special way.
Twist.
Yeah, a little twist, a little pop to it. You know what I mean?
A little
a little adobo. We're bringing and introducing chicken sandwich. We're introducing our couples date night. Which, what a way to maintain a healthy relationship, right?
Yeah, play games together.
Play games together.
Couple that games together stays together.
Oh yeah, preach it. So if you are a couple, you have a significant other, a partner that you just want to find something to do with them, during the weekend, then you can come and chill with us while we expose you to some great options, some great games that you can play at home, and just get to experience all the fun and all the shenanigans that happen during our live streams. It's going to be fun.
It's a team building exercise.
Yeah. Sometimes we'll play games that we decided, you know what, it sucks. You shouldn't play it either. It's going to destroy your relationship. Yeah. Or we'll play games that are good, and we'll highly recommend them. So come along, follow the mini-series. It's been super fun. We already been recommending some really dope choices, and a part of that, we're live streaming them, so you get to experience the live gameplay and make decisions for yourself and see if this game is for you or not. I think I resumed it pretty nicely, right? Yeah. But you know what they also can do?
What else?
I'll leave it to you. Maybe you know.
Let me see. Where would I go if I wanted to find out about all things ZapCristal?
I don't know.
It would be so convenient if there was like one place I could go to that had like all the information I need to know about ZapCristal.
Yeah.
That would be really. You know what?
What?
I heard about the. I forgot. There is.
You're gonna spill the tea right now?
There is this one place you can go to.
Okay.
To find out about when videos are dropping.
Okay.
To find out about live streams. To find out about the podcast. To find out about special events. Everything you need to know about ZapCristal. There is one place you can go.
Where?
This is gonna surprise you, all right?
Okay.
You ready?
All right.
You ready? Just take a deep breath. ZapCristal.com. You can join the email list.
Yeah.
You can get I get emails. New video just dropped. Oh, new pod. Right to my phone.
Yeah, straight.
So convenient.
Front row, VIP treatment. For free.
For free. It don't cost you nothing. All you gotta do is type in your email address and hit enter.
And that's it. Just
you
be
can
part
get
of the list.
You can be part of the ZapCristal family.
Yeah. It's I highly recommend you guys that if you follow me on all social medias, that's great and all. But if you can do one thing, just join the email list and you'll be informed of everything that's going on.
100%.
It's like a Sunday newspaper
that you can read on your phone.
Yeah.
So it's like right there. It's like, oh, right. Oh.
Yeah.
So convenient.
So it's such a great. Actually, you know what? I wonder if emails are a product of newspapers, and that's a whole different story.
I don't know where that came from, but okay, we're there now.
ADHD activated. But guys, I appreciate you tuning in. You could be doing anything, and yet you chose to stop and listen to this episode. Don't forget to drop your ratings, reviews. Let us know what we're doing right and what we might need to tweak, as we're constantly changing our content to make it entertaining for you guys, but also easy for us. And as always, I want to remind you to reset and zap for the week. you just had to.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
I haven't got to do that.
It's been a while. See you guys. Bye-bye.